Hello everyone, and welcome to Hyrule News Episode 1, a new channel bringing all the latest Nintendo news, rumors, and leaks directly to you, the viewers, weekly. Today we will be discussing the all but confirmed Zelda AllStars release for 2021, as well as the new 4K Switch model, the long-awaited Skyward Sword Remaster for the Nintendo Switch, and lastly, GameCube and Nintendo Wii emulators for Switch. Let's get right into it. 2020 was sure to bring us nothing but hopes and dreams until Nintendo hit us with a surprise announcement for Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity, and Tingle's Adventures 2 earlier this month. It was then that the Zelda community exploded with excitement and more rumors and leaks started to pop up every week. Among these is the all but confirmed Zelda AllStars game for the Switch, sure to come in 2021 as part of the celebration for Zelda's 35th anniversary. If we have learned anything this year, it's that Nintendo will wait until the last minute to release news about their upcoming titles and plans. Mario 3D All-Stars was no exception to this, as it was announced on September 3rd, 2020, and released this past Friday on September 18th, 2020, only 2 weeks after the 35th Anniversary Direct premiered on YouTube. It would be no surprise if Nintendo followed this same structure and announced a Zelda AllStar game only a few weeks after airing a Zelda 35th Anniversary Direct. Of course, the games that would fit best with the Zelda AllStars collection would be Ocarina of Time, The Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess, with a Skyward Sword remaster coming afterwards, acting as the Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury announcement, releasing on February 12th, 2021, following the Super Mario 3D's All-Star release. It's likely that Nintendo sticks to having only 3 games in the collection, although it would be great to see Majora's Mask tag along with the other 3 games. However, knowing that Nintendo is just pretending that Super Mario Galaxy 2 doesn't exist, it seems likely that they would keep Majora's Mask out of the picture for now.
With the Xbox Series X and S as well as the PlayStation 5 releasing this November touting impressive hardware and 4K graphics, it's hard not to think about what Nintendo has planned for the next Switch model. The latest news is that Nintendo has asked the developers to be ready to release 4K games for the Switch. This coming on the heels of yet more Switch Pro rumors, and now looks to be more of a confirmation that a new model is coming and less of a speculation. A new Switch model for a 21 release at this point is imminent, and the deeper we dive into 2020, the more it would seem to make sense that this would be the case. In 2020, it will be 4 years since the Switch first launched, a perfect time frame for them to release this next-gen model that is much more than just an updated Switch that released last year with the more battery life. The concept of a new Nintendo Switch has been thrown around as a possibility for next year's release, following the likes of the new Nintendo 3DS and XL releases we received in 2015, which was also 4 years after the original 3DS launched in 2011. With games like Breath of the Wild 2, Metro Prime 4, and a Skyward Sword remaster next year, this would make sense that Nintendo would plan to release a new Switch model alongside one of the big releases for next year.
Let's talk more about the Skyward Sword remaster. As it has been reported before, multiple websites including Amazon had listed a Skyward Sword remaster for the Nintendo Switch as an upcoming product until taking down the listing shortly after. It was rumored for a while before the Amazon listing that Skyward Sword would be getting a full remaster or remake for the Nintendo Switch, but this has all but confirmed that. The interesting and more unknown part of a Skyward Sword release would be the timing of when it would launch. Would it release before or after the new Switch model? If it releases before, would it still have the graphical capability to hit 4K while the Switch is docked? Our best guess is that Skyward Sword will release after Zelda AllStars and before Breath of the Wild 2, and that the Breath of the Wild sequel will release alongside the new Switch 4K's launch. It would make the most sense if we were to get a Zelda AllStars earlier in the year, around February or March, the Skyward Sword remaster a few months after that in July, August, or September, then the highly anticipated sequel to Breath of the Wild in November with the new Switch model. Skyward Sword is basically the origin story for Breath of the Wild and all Zelda games, so it would be amazing to get to experience that again before heading back into the wild to hopefully destroy Ganon or Demise for the last time.
Lost on the docket for today's weekly news episode, there have been many reports that inside the game code for Mario AllStars 3D, programmers found that Nintendo has created a GameCube and Wii emulator. This could open the door to many possibilities, as the future of Nintendo Switch Online could be affected for the better if this turns out to be true. However, it is odd that there hasn't been much said about a possible Nintendo 64 emulator coming to Switch Online, and now there are already rumors that a GameCube and Wii emulator could be added. With September coming to a close and only a few retro games being added to the NES and SNES Nintendo Switch Online library this month, it is very doubtful that we will see N64 games make a return this year. Will they skip over that generation entirely and move on to GameCube and Wii? Our hope is that they release N64 games for Nintendo Online subscribers in the first 2 quarters of next year, so they can move on to GameCube, as well as possibly have GameCube games released for Nintendo Switch Online subscribers around the same time in the new Switch models in 2021. There is also a possibility that they use emulators to port over games as re-releases for the Switch and sell them in collections like we saw with Mario 3D AllStars, and most likely with the future Zelda AllStars.
That concludes our weekly wrap-up on Nintendo news. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any uploads, and follow us on Twitter at NewsHyrule to stay up to date with the latest news as it breaks. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.